Hello, I am Dan.
And I'm Max.
And this is Fightography.
So, Dan, it's my pick
Yes.
this week.
It is.
I'm very excited because we've got a very interesting actor lined up today. Somebody who is known for absolute badassery, murder,
Ooh.
killing,
Ooh.
fighting.
Ooh.
And we also have an actor who is known for some of the most bizarre, ridiculous, shithouse characters of the modern age.
Oh my god.
I know, it's going to be...
There's two names popping into my head at the moment. I'm excited for both of them. Or indeed, if it's neither of them. This sounds very intriguing.
Well, we know it's January, and January it's tricky to find a new release that's good and has good actors. However, after deep research and a recent film release, I can reveal that I believe sometime this week, or when the recording goes out, a steel box set of the Matrix trilogy will be releasing in stores all around. Which is why this week we are going with Lawrence Fishburne. No, Keanu Reeves.
Oh no! I'm so excited for Lawrence Fishburne.
As much as I love Lawrence
don't
Fishburne.
call him Larry. Don't call him Larry, Max. He'll fuck you up.
Cool.
Oh.
So Keanu Reeves is today's Fightography.
Keanu Reeves. Wow.
The big...
Funnily enough, a film I saw recently actually could come into play here. I don't know if you've put it on the list, but
What film
certainly
was it?
an interesting role. The SpongeBob, Sponge on the Run, that I watched for Matt Berry.
Of course.
Keanu Reeves rocks up as the wise sage.
Well done. There's badassery, and then there's complete barbarism and ridiculousness. So may well be. Let's get straight into it with number one.
Yes.
In no particular order. The one film I had to... Actually, no, there was a few films that I had to research, but this is the film I had to watch and was dreading watching for a number of weeks. I remember messaging you at least a week and a half ago telling you that I'm going to have to watch this film and I really don't want to.
Yeah, I believe the exact words you used were the worst film for someone like me to watch. So I'm intrigued.
This is the thing, I'm just going to come across so harsh and mean, and I do apologise. And it's not nearly as bad as I expected it to be.
Okay.
So first we have Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure.
Oh.
Which...
What? Dreading it?
Well, let me try to... You know me, and you know my film tastes, and you know that I'm quite niche. You know, I like, well-made films. I like very kind of artsy films with a big moral theme. And if not, modern day cinema with the cool action sequences a lot of films these days have, they can be entertaining and they can be fun. So when I inevitably knew that I had to do Ted from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, there's something about it being made in 1986, it being about two fuckwit American teenagers. I didn't have the greatest of hopes, to be honest, but it was a lot more fun than I thought. So basically, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure is about a dude named Bill and Ted, or dudes named Bill and Ted,
Plural.
And they sort of revolutionise the future due to the music that they create when they're in a band together, and the future that is this utopia that has been created by their wisdom, which I guess their music is comparable to the Bible in the way that it influences the world, which is quite funny. The future are worried that this band may never come together to make such great music, because if they fail their history, test or presentation, then they'll get split up, and I think Ted will get sent to military school. So basically, someone is sent back in time to make sure they pass. They get access to a time machine, and they go back and visit a whole host of historical figures, Napoleon being, I think the standout. And they decide sort of, in order to pass their history test, let's sort of bring all these historical figures back to help with the presentation. And it allows scenes where Napoleon is in a water park going down all the slides and just can't get enough of it, which was quite funny and kept the film quite lively, let's say.
Yeah. Who played Napoleon? You said he's a standout. We're intrigued who played him.
It's not somebody... Bear with me. It was not somebody who I think was typically known, but...
Oh, okay.
It's just... I guess Napoleon is such a iconic figure, and to have such a famous kind of military figure sort of running around a theme park being stupid...
I didn't know if there was some mad casting like Danny DeVito as
Napoleon.
No,
that would be good. That would have been good, actually. That would have been really good. No, he's played by Terry Camilleri. I hope I pronounced that right.
A future Fightography pick by the sounds of it.
Oh, yeah. I don't want to digress and look at his acting portfolio. He's a Maltese-born actor who's performed actively in both the UK and the United States. He's recognised for portraying Emperor Napoleon in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. He appeared in the 1983 sequel film Superman 3.
Holy shit.
Made a cameo in The Truman Show. He's a should'in for a fight.
A pop cultural juggernaut icon. By the sounds of it.
Exactly. So, in Bill and Ted have, they're sort of your basic high school teen, really, except they're dumb as fuck, man. They talk like this, you know.
Be excellent to each other.
I feel dudes. He went a bit Marlon Brando in The Godfather there. You want to come to my dad's wedding? Because famously, Ted became Don Corleone. Anyway, so they're musicians, so I'd be willing to maybe grant Ted a form of guitar or musical instrument.
Okay.
I know
Does he have access to time travel?
Well, I'm not really sure what he'd do with it in a fight to the death, really. Would he...
I mean, he could go back in time and, undo stuff that you know is about to happen, in your favour. Basically rig the entire battle. He could be our strongest fighter. I mean, if we grant him time travel, we may as well give him the win now, to be honest. So
yeah, time travel might be a bit of a tricky one. Does he just go back and find everyone on their babies and kill them? It's a tricky one. I think we'll have to say no on the time travel because I guess it isn't. No, let's just say no. Let's just be safe.
Yeah. If we look like we're going to go over our set time, we'll give it back to him and then just end the episode. He wins. There we go. Okay. Bye, everyone.
So Ted, high school teenager, idiot, maybe has a guitar, maybe has a history book. Socrates. And that's about it. So it's a strong start. It's a strong start.
Yeah, it's. I've not actually seen the film. One of my two big confessions, I believe, for this episode, I'm going to have to admit. But I've heard a lot about it. I've watched a lot of reviews and cultural osmosis. I feel like I've seen it without actually seeing it because I know, more or less the plot of the first. I know the plot of the latest one more or less too. And yeah, they just the catchphrase, be excellent to each other, dudes.
So, yeah. It's
a strong pick.
It is quite. It's more engaging than I thought. I went into it dreading it and thought I just wasn't going to like it. It was going to be like a really old-fashioned John Hughes film with sort of no kind of charisma or energy at all. But there were moments that were fun, so it wasn't too bad.
Ooh, saying John Hughes films have no charisma. Damn.
No, John Hughes films are good. John Hughes films are very good. Breakfast Club I've never understood,
right.
to be honest. I wasn't overwhelmed by Breakfast Club, but there's a chance that I'm being pernickety. Anyway.
It's fine. But yeah, moving on.
Ted is then going to be going up against Jonathan Harker from Bram Stoker's Dracula. Which
I know where the bastard sleeps.
I have to say, and I love Keanu Reeves, and he seems like the nicest dude, and his genuine nature and his commitment to the modern filmmaking game trumps the fact that this may be one of the worst acting performances of all time.
Oh my god, that accent, yeah,
it's not
I
great.
know where the bastard sleeps.
What did you make of Bram Stoker's Dracula?
Well, I think watching it drunk last year was perhaps one of the best nights of our lives, both our lives. It was just magical.
It weirdly
really.
was. I don't know if the film was so good and it matched so well with the amount of alcohol I'd had to drink, but I do remember at that moment saying it had to be one of my top favourite my top 10 favourite films of all time, sheerly because of the enjoyment I got out of that single viewing experience, and it still is. I've committed to that, and I feel no reason why it shouldn't be, to be honest, because it is great. It's wild, it's wacky, it has a sort of sense of style. It's very stylistic. It's got, Oscar-winning actors, a 2-time Oscar-winning actor, and yet it's shit fucking mental, and maybe atrocious, maybe great, but what it is in my top 10 films of all time.
Quite literally batshit crazy.
Yes, quite literally. I thought that was a very clever use of the phrase, really.
Excellent.
I guess
it's certainly got a vision. Quite what that vision is remains to be debated, but it's got one.
Yes. I'd say the downside with it, especially in regards to Keanu Reeves, is sort of he's in it for the first part, and then he gets sort of trapped in Dracula's lair, gets shagged by loads of women, and then he sort of, I don't know, I don't really remember him being very integral to the film after that, because I know he comes back and he survives, but
no,
I don't think he gets the winning blow. I don't seem to remember.
I don't think I was going to say.
Maybe he does. I can't remember.
He gives them some key information. Like,
he gives them exposition.
Literally, that's about his main plot function is exposition.
He gets cucked by Gary Oldman, which, in fairness, you can't really complain about.
Oh, that is his performance in that film is saucy. Oh. Some of the scenes I witnessed. Oh, Jesus.
It's very saucy. It's Gary Oldman.
I felt like I sinned.
Sucking on Winona Ryder's tits, and then Winona sucking on his tits, and then Anthony Hopkins sucking on her. It's just a lot of foreplay, really. It's a film of foreplay. Film of foreplay. Francis Ford Coppola's film of foreplay. That should have been the title.
Oh, really. It works. Yeah, all the alliteration.
It's got a ring. It's got a ring.
It's fantastic.
In regards
I'm sure
to
there's going to be another character from that film in a future Fightography.
Oh, definitely. But in regards to this, I don't think Jonathan Harker has any sort of skills at all. He's a man, and that's about it. Who has a...
Does he have, like, a stake or a sword or something?
Accent. I'm not sure he does, to be honest, because I think when... He doesn't have a stake when he first goes to the castle, and I don't recall afterwards him having a stake. So I think he's very much a guy going to a castle and shagging vampire women.
I mean, fair play.
So,
I don't think it's going to last long. He's just a man, possibly half dead if he's been half drained by a drac.
Half drained, a very weakened man. He'd already been a pretty puny man in the first place. So yeah, Ted and
Oh my god.
Jonathan Harker, I imagine, are going to be strugglers of this episode.
I mean, anyone who loses to Jonathan Harker is an absolute chump in this
He
episode.
should be in the Hall of Shame. He's potentially our weakest character until a bit later on in this list. And we get
Oh my god.
possibly a weaker character. Maybe not. I'm not sure. Our next character is, of course, Officer Jack Travan from a little-known film called Speed.
Oh, Speed.
Yes.
Excellent film.
Which means, of course, that we have Keanu Reeves in a vehicle.
Oh, the vehicle's return.
Yeah, because Speed is famously about a bus, I think it's a bus, that cannot go below 50 miles per hour, otherwise it will blow up. So it's a film entirely based on a bus going above 50 miles per hour, trying not to crash, trying not to slow down. So essentially...
pulling off some sick jumps.
Exactly.
That one jump it never should have made.
So essentially we've got Keanu Reeves in a bus who cannot slow down. So...
Now, I pose a question here.
Yeah.
Is he actually driving the bus? Because in the film, Sandra Bullock is the one who spends, I think, the entire time behind the wheel.
Yes, from memory. I think you might be right. Well, regardless, I don't think it matters because in a rare case, if he gets out, the bus explodes.
He could use it, though. He could, like,
the bus.
dive... Because he does
suicide
exit
bombing.
the bus. Yeah. I mean, even then, spoilers for Speed, I guess. He does escape the bus at the end of the film, so I guess we could grant him a reprieve like we did Farrier and say he can get out of the bus briefly to use it as a suicide bomb and then immediately get killed.
Quite possibly.
Maybe.
I mean, beyond being on a bus, he is just some kind of, your standard kind of operative. So he may have a gun on him, but I think that's about it. Again, he's another human in a very dangerous world of Keanu Reeves. So...
I think our most powerful Keanu Reeves so far, though. He's actually got a weapon.
Well, yeah, he's got a bus.
and a bus, yeah.
However, moving swiftly on.
Indeed.
We're racing through these characters, but it's okay.
Like Keanu Reeves in Speed.
Like Keanu Reeves in Speed. Because our next competitor is our friend Neo from Le Matrix.
Oh. Now, here's my second big confession of the episode, and I'm very sorry, everyone.
What?
I have never seen The Matrix.
Dan, this is a film that... This is one of the films where, you would be a great pioneer for. One of those, like, kind of classic old sci-fi films. I thought this would be right up your alley.
I've always meant to. I've got the whole box set on DVD. I've always meant to sit down and watch them. I've never got around to it. It's the old on the list thing that you never get around to. But okay. I through cultural osmosis, again, I sort of know pretty much Neo's what his deal is. I think most people know.
To be fair, it's your kind of it's your standard sort of hero plot, really, of being a sort of nobody and then becoming a somebody by the end, really.
Yeah.
But Neo,
the question I can pose here is: most of Neo's powers, I believe, are due to him having like some sort of extra control over the simulation he's in.
Yeah, sort of.
Like the whole. So he's not going to have any of those powers in this battle, sure.
Well, yeah, this is. Again, I'm not the hugest. I have seen The Matrix, but I don't know all the technical jargon. But there is sort of a, for lack of a better word, a sort of out of simulation Neo and a sort of in simulation Neo. However, I feel it's much more fun to have in simulation Neo with the black cloak, the shades, the guns, the being able to dodge bullets and speed time.
Yeah, we could put our fight in the Matrix. Just, we have any, like,
Quite
specific
possibly.
arenas now.
Well, I'm willing to give Neo the powers that he possesses in the Matrix, under the caveat, and I've thought about this in great detail, that he only retained the powers that he has in the first Matrix, because this is Neo from the Matrix, not the Matrix Revolutions, Resurrections, something beginning with
does
R.
he get, like, God powers in the next ones?
I believe he gets a little bit more comfortable with his powers, to say the very least.
Right.
I think there's very clear Jesus imagery near the latter end. But anyway, so I feel if we give him the powers he has in the first Matrix, he's still buff as hell, and he's still going to be one of the hardest people to kill. But it's not going to be too outrageous. So he has a lot of guns, machine gun, pistols. He can, of course, dodge bullets in that very iconic, classic way.
Bullet time, yeah.
Bullet time, yeah. And at the end of the film, spoilers, mild spoilers, so don't worry, you sort of see him flying. So I don't know if we can give him flight,
Okay.
but going off the rules that I've set for introducing Neo, I guess we say that he can fly. He doesn't use it very often, so I imagine he doesn't really use it in combat at all. So we can maybe allow him flight with the knowledge that he's not really going to use it. He's just going to use his weapons primarily.
Yeah. Now, does he have any, like, control over time itself? Like, when he does the whole bullet time thing, is that like he can explicitly slow time, or is it just super fast reflexes, and that's
I think
choice?
It's just the director's way of sort of showing how he kind of dodges the bullets. I'm guessing, although I've got no confirmation, that it sort of happens in real time, but they just slow it down using that very revolutionary, well talked about shot of you lining up all the cameras and sort of taking all the pictures, after another. And it's very good, and it's very iconic. And it's like an iconic moment that's been repeated in almost every piece of pop culture ever. So...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm willing to give Neo from the Matrix. He's very powerful, but has limited powers. He uses flight that he doesn't really use too much. He has guns, and he can use bullet time. And... He's like a ninja. There's a training scene where he does lots of, I guess, kung fu, karate, all those sorts of martial arts.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is going to boil down to, so far at least, a bus versus a ninja.
Basically, Keanu Reeves is Neo in the Matrix is essentially a ninja with guns. Essentially, I think that's if you haven't seen the films, that's sort of what you can boil it down to. Who also wear shades.
Sounds like yeah. Well, of course, the pivotal part of his character, the shades.
Next, you think Neo is going to be a strong favourite for this, and there's not really going to be anybody who can match him. But
surely, I mean, who can match up?
Who else could take out the man who can dodge bullets, aside from the man who has the most bullets? And that is John Wick. John Wick.
Jonathan Wick.
Jonathan
Wickathan.
Jonathan Nathaniel Wick. Have you seen John Wick?
I have. I've seen the first one. I've not seen it's only 2 sequels at the moment. They're making a third one, I believe. I've seen the first one, though. Yeah, great film. Fantastic film.
I do remember, and this is maybe very extreme, and I understand to listeners that this may be like so kind of like out there. I remember when because I loved the first John Wick. It was simple, in terms of kind of writing and all the stuff I love and study and stuff. It's quite simplistic. Man's dog dies. Man spends 90 minutes killing everyone who is involved in the dog's death, and I think that's why I think it's the most
relatable revenge story ever.
Well, this is the thing. I think the reason why the first one works is when somebody kills nobody likes seeing a dog die in films, which is why there's websites like Does the Dog Die, where people could look up before watching a film if a dog dies. That's how much people hate watching a dog die. So what the first film sort of understands and does really well is the minute that character, who's already an arsehole, kills that dog, you immediately want to see as many people responsible suffer for the death of that dog as possible. And that's pretty much exactly what the film does. And that's all it does, really.
If I was to give one complaint, even, I think the death of the final guy behind it's too swift. Or the actual dude, the prick.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
He gets a fairly quick death.
He just sort of walks up to him and just sort of shoots him, and that's it, really.
You want him to suffer.
Yeah, I sort of really... I completely understand the criticism, but I also really kind of liked that I feel... So you get a lot of films these days, and a lot of, I guess, Netflix originals, some sort of not tremendously well-known actors or famous actors, but not famous for really being that good. And, you know, they're assassins, and they're always painted as, these are the deadliest assassins of all time, blah, blah, blah. And I'm always very critical, because I feel... I say this like I have some, elite knowledge of how assassins work, when I obviously don't. Secretly, I'm an assassin. But I feel that an assassin in real life would just go in, get the job done, and you'd go in, go in, get the kill, leaves. It really simple. The point of an assassin is to do it with such seamlessness. So for John Wick to sort of be an assassin, I really like that it was just in his nature to just walk up to him and then leave, and that's it. Yeah, because that's it
makes sense. In terms of the film. Yeah, it makes sense in terms of the film. It's just a personal thing. I wish the guy.
Oh yeah. I think everyone wishes. And then he suffers. But you get a lot in these other Assassins films where they're doing so much running, they're doing ninja fighting, they're doing all these stunts, cars rolling over one in each other, getting found at all this stuff. And I feel an assassin in real life wouldn't bother with the kung fu stuff. They'd just shoot you and leave.
If my hours of playing Hitman have taught me anything, it's
that's sort of it.
Get in there, get a disguise, leave a cherry bomb in the toilet, and blow them up.
Yeah, and I don't want to say Hitman is the most factual of the games. I've actually started replaying Assassin's Creed Black Flag, which is surprisingly very similar. And yeah, a lot of it, when you think about it, a real assassin, go in, get the job done, get out, really. So yeah, that's sort of why I like that element of the film. And that's sort of what I like about his fight scenes, is because it was directed, I believe, by real stunt people, which is why it looks as good as it does. And I just love... Because it's not a realistic film, it's hyper-stylized, and, it's in this world where, one guy is killing thousands of dudes. But there's a sense of realism in the fact that, he double taps them, he'll shoot them once in the stomach and then headshot them, move on. And there's something so cold, and because it is so cold, because it's so calculated, because there's no faffing around and loads of ninja stuff. I know he'll do a martial art flip or something, but it always feels kind of needed and a necessity. And that kind of gritty realism I really like. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it created the term gun fu, which is a great little descriptor of the film.
Maybe.
Basically, it's a whole bunch of I think there's something so clean to the choreography, the fact that there's no excess bullets. You're told this guy is expert at what he does, and you see it because he doesn't waste a shit ton of bullets shooting walls and concrete spurt up everywhere. It's just bam, 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 dead. Bam.
Yeah, exactly.
Flip the arm, snap, shoot, dead.
Yeah, and that's the element of realism which I think really lifts and elevates the film above most action films. And I do remember, and again, this seems like a massive overreaction, but I remember, because when I first saw it, I was really into filmmaking as well, and I still am into filmmaking. And I remember how minimal cuts they use, because they have an actor who can just do the action. So it's minimal cuts, You see the action. It's not chopped to shit. You know that it's... There's certain films that you watch and you know, oh, okay, this is chopped to shit because the actor can't do it to a level where it's sellable. So, it's very choppy, and it becomes standard action really.
That's a problem with a lot of action films these days. Dare I say, even some of Nolan's stuff has it, where the action stuff is chopped so much that you just can't see any of it, and you're like, I just want to see this. I just want to see what's going on. Just show me what's going on. I
do understand why they do it sometimes, because sometimes to get the level of skill, these people are meant to be playing the deadliest people in the world, so to get that level of skill and training requires a lot of hard work. And I imagine Keanu Reeves studying martial arts for years and years and years, and it's a genuine hobby of his, which is why he's able to do it. So I understand there are times where an actor may not be capable and stuff like that. There are also times, like in Taken 3, where Liam Neeson's character needs to scale a fence. And that's all he does. He scales a fence, and it's about 5 seconds long, and there's 12 cuts. And it's known as one of the most cuts in a thing. You should Google it. It's really quite funny, of Taken 3, Liam Neeson. God. And it's him... The clip starts, he runs up to a fence, he climbs it, he jumps down, and then runs on. That's it. That's all that happens. And there's about 12 or 13 cuts.
It's like, have you seen, obviously it's not an action film, of course, but there was a clip going around when Bohemian Rhapsody won Best Editing at the Oscars. There was a clip going around of one particular scene where they're like, is this seriously best editing material? And it's just a bunch of people sat down for at a cafe. It's the band and I think it's one of their managers or something sat down. But for this one simple conversation, it's something like 30, 40 cuts in a simple conversation scene that lasts 2 minutes. And it's just someone sits down, cut, someone sits down, cut, someone says something, cut. It's just... slow down. Just show us what's going on. So
I remember, seeing all, the scenes in John Wick. I remember after watching it, and I genuinely remembered to go. And this wasn't just a spur of the moment thing. This is a ideology I had for a good few years after I saw it, where I was just I have seen the best action in a film. No action, I don't need... It was sort of I don't need to watch any other action film. Action does not interest me anymore because I've seen it done the best, and I've seen it done much better than any Marvel, DC, generic action film, James Bond, whatever, can ever do.
Yeah.
And I think the action in a lot of those things are very good. James Bond's action's quite good. Marvel's is quite good. DC's is quite good. But it just wasn't... it's not the level, really.
In terms of pure choreography and stuff, yeah, absolutely. John Wick just kills it. Yeah.
As much as he kills fucking thousands of people.
I think watching that film together, I think that was when I spitballed one of my genius directorial ideas. Because there's obviously the minimal cuts thing anyway, but I think one slight change I would make, maybe, to make some of the action scenes even greater, dare I say, with them. Heresy I'm probably committing right here. Limit the cuts to whenever he changes his what do you call it? Stock in the gun.
Change the ammo clip.
They make a point of the ammo clip. They make a point of showing him do it. So I think maybe if you were to do something with the cuts where you only cut when he changes his ammo clip and then hold on that next shot
that could
and then
work.
Cut again. That's just a cool idea. I think I had.
That could work.
That's literally
I think the thing with cutting. And which is why I sympathise with it, is a lot of the time you get to a point in the editing room, because you never really know how it looks like when you're filming it until you get to the editing room and realise, oh, maybe we missed this, maybe we missed that. And sometimes a cut is necessary and there's nothing really you can do. It's either cut it or just see a complete goof that completely takes you out of the immersion of the film, which is why I'm sort of sympathetic to sort of cuts in films that maybe don't have as good action. But when you're doing 12 takes, there are 12 cuts to get over a fucking fence. That's when I'm drawing the line.
I think the best editing is it sort of helps tell the story more. So with my idea with the ammo clip, it's a case of you feel him.
I think it's a good idea.
Sort of you feel the endurance of him sort of, enduring, and then when he changes the clip, it's, oh, thank God, fresh. it's the same as like with quick cutting. I think that can work if the idea of the scene is the character's disorientated, it's meant to be a bit hectic, you're not sure what's going on. I think that's when you can get away with quick cutting. But yes, climbing a fucking fence or sitting down for a scone. Ridiculous.
Yeah.
But yeah, John Wick, fantastic film.
John Wick,
great action.
Neo, Jonathan Harker, Ted. Next, and this is where we go into batshit mental territory.
Oh, okay.
We have Keanu, the cat, from the film Keanu.
What? I've never even heard of this film.
I remember the trailer coming out for it, and it's a very niche film. It's Jordan Peele and Keenan Peele, you know, the American sketch show.
Oh yeah,
famous for that. You done messed up, AA Ron. It's them too, and they're really. I actually find them really funny. As someone who's not really that big into American comedy, I always find them immensely funny and entertaining. And the film Keanu, I believe, is about. I'll be honest. I think it's about this kind of cat who escapes a drug cartel, and the owners are Keenan Peele, and they want to... Basically, it's about two dudes trying to find their cat, and there's lots of violence, and there's lots of gangsters. But there's a section where the cat is actually voiced by Keanu Reeves.
Oh my god.
So, essentially, I'm introducing a cat.
A cat?
Yeah. And Keanu Reeves sort of talks in this sort of kind of hazy, more abstract scene, which may or may not be real. So essentially, we just have a cat. His name is Keanu.
Can he speak in our battle if the scene where he sort of talks is a bit surreal?
I don't think so.
Or is he just
I think he's just
a cat. Cool.
Yep.
Cool.
So, yeah.
I think this is a fairly nice spiritual partnership to John Wick, really. Two dudes looking for a cat, a guy avenging his dog.
But when the cat dies, John Wick just goes up to another level.
Not the cat!
So, yeah. A cat called Keanu.
Keanu the cat.
I don't know if there's much else to say, really. There's a cat called Keanu in a film called Keanu, and it's voiced by Keanu Reeves, and there's a little bit of a Matrix sort of homage, let's say.
Oh my god. Does the cat do bullet time?
No, he doesn't. He just sort of sits there while the sort of Matrix letters sort of spit around the room. Sadly, I'd love to see the cat do bullet time. The cat has this aura of badassery, so I'm willing to buy that it's a ferocious cat, but a cat nonetheless.
Cats can be deadly.
Yeah,
they can be really deadly.
Somebody fucking lives with them. They are. And they're very, very persistent. So yeah, we've got a badass cat, John Wick, Neo, guy from Speed, Ted, Jonathan Harker, and next, to add to the craziness, going up against the cat, I'm sure, Duke Kaboom, Canada's greatest stuntman, from Toy Story 4.
Oh, right.
Yeah, so Duke Kaboom is a toy, and he's about half the size of Woody. So, what are we saying? We're saying he's about the size of...
I mean, Woody is like 12 inches tall, generally speaking. Having worked in a toy store recently, most of the Woody dolls, they're like 12 inches.
So he's about 6 inches.
Yeah.
Avoid the obvious joke.
He's the height of your average Marvel Legends, your average Doctor Who figure for the
Oh yeah, everyone can use that for comparison. So what would everybody have? He's about...
I mean... He's the height of... Wow, what's 6 inches? Well...
I'm thinking a deodorant can. or something like that.
Yeah.
And so he's a man.
About a deodorant can.
He's a man on a bike the size of the deodorant can. He can move of his own free will. I'm not sure if because people will be around him, he just plays dead or not. I guess in a life or death situation, because I don't think it's ever clear in Toy Story. Do they have? No, they do have the ability to move when people are looking. Yeah, they do. So he can move.
They just try not to.
Okay, so maybe he won't. We've got a toy car about 6 inches tall. Avoid obvious joke. And there's a really sad backstory. It's not that sad, but it's you'd say more of a humorous backstory. I can't remember what his owner was. A kid called Rennie or something, like Reggie or something, a French name beginning with R. And the backstory of Duke Kaboom is this kid saw the Duke Kaboom toy advertised on the TV, and he was flying. He was doing amazing jumps. He was a stuntman, so he's doing jumps, the rings of fire, and it's amazing. As the next big toy, the kid got the toy, and it could barely jump an inch. And the kid was very unsatisfied with what the advert had presented, and therefore stopped playing with him. And now his whole MO is to sort of make up for the failure he was when he was with this child.
Oh, Duke,
so there's some emotional backstory there. He's very cocky, pulls off lots of stunts. Ha! Here! Ha! One more. There's that famous clip of Keanu Reeves doing the voice in the booth. That's quite funny.
Toy Story 4 is the only one I've not seen out of the Toy Story series. I've seen up to 3, and then, like the toys being left at the little girl's house, I stepped off. So long, partner.
I think, Toy Story 4 does not... It's very fitting to the other 3. But I like the first 3 a lot more, I think...
Yeah.
Makes a good trilogy.
But would you say 4 earned its place then as a Toy Story? Or is it like a cash grab kind of thing?
No, it's a good Toy Story film. There's a lot of heart to it.
Okay.
You get a lot of the themes of sort of rejection and lots of stuff they did in previous Toy Stories. When somebody loved me, everything was beautiful. Anyway.
That's going to sound beautiful on audio.
Sorry. There's some really moments of heart. I think the opening's probably I found it the saddest moment. When he has to say goodbye to somebody. It's very sad. There's a lot of heart. There's clearly a lot of care gone into it. So this is why, I think... it deserves to be with the other films, but I like the smoothness of just a good solid trilogy, and I liked that. Yeah, I feel the story had sort of concluded after 3. Andy had went to college and stuff like that. But of course, they could do a trilogy with the other girl.
They could.
We'll see.
They could. I feel like it's sort of running its course slightly.
There is that risk. Because even I like Toy Story 4, and they did some original things, but the themes seem to be very similar in terms of like rejection and animals teddies and toys taking rejection, and the villain, mild spoiler, being sort of the victim of rejection. And I believe in the second and maybe the third one, the villains have all been rejected in some way, and that's why they do their villainous deeds.
The third one's got the teddy, hasn't it? And it's like, what's his deal again? He's like, I don't want you to like leave the nursery or something. Because they're all in like a nursery kind of thing.
Maybe I think his owner, and she left him, she dumped him, so he feels that sense of rejection and stuff. And in the second one, it's the prospect miner, and he wants to be part of. He wants to go to the museum where he can be loved and worshipped by everyone. I think because I think he relates to Jesse's origins, let's say, of being rejected. So there's definitely that rejection theme being spirited across. But at the end of the day, it's a kids' film, and what film came out? Oh yeah, Lightyear. Everyone everyone's seeing the Lightyear. Well, here's my thing with the Lightyear thing. Okay, it may not look as good. There may be lots of plot holes that sort of undoes whatever the Toy Story thing is now. But I just remember when the Lightyear trailer came out, there were people my age and people older than me sort of going on about their like outrage, or they're like, oh, what's this? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, mate, you're fucking in your mid-20s. This film's not fucking made for you. Like, this is because I know...
Yeah.
A lot of people use the argument that, like, oh, well, Marvel films, superhero films are kids' films, so, you know, if it's stupid and dumb, then, you know, blah, 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 blah. But I don't believe that, because I believe lots of superhero films are marketed to sort of late teens, early people in...
Yeah.
Like, people our age. I think superhero films as a genre is much more open. It's not just for kids. It's... You know, okay, there are some facets which are for kids, like in all genres, but there are a lot of hero films. Like, you know, Batman is hardly a kids thing. You wouldn't say that was a kids thing.
Yeah. Well, it's like, I think with those characters, there's like multiple versions. Like, you've got your Saturday morning cartoon versions, which are clearly for kids, but then the main, you know, Hollywood films, I would say, they're probably like a teen sort of 20s.
It's more family, so it's a bit of everyone. You know, my parents watch Marvel films and enjoy them. Toy Story's different. Toy Story is for kids.
Yeah.
And therefore, I feel if you're outraged as a guy in your mid-20s that Lightyear doesn't look as good, okay, I get it, because, you know, I guess that's a strong part of our childhood, but these films aren't for us anymore. And
no, my main concern
is that it looks
slightly like a bit of a cash grab kind of deal. That's my main issue.
Possibly. No. I mean, but it's just, I'm not going to watch it. I'm not the demographic. If I'm a man in my mid-20s who still wants to watch, you know, who wants to commit to a television series which is about a fucking toy. I don't know.
that's just
come across quite harsh, but, you know, each to their own. But
yeah, at the end of the day, you know,
if you're outraged, if you're in your mid-20s and you're outraged, like genuinely, passionately outraged, it's not for you anymore. I'm sorry.
No,
you're meant to.
I think you nail it.
Watch Atonement.
You know, these. Watch
Saving Private Ryan. Watch Schindler's List. You know, these are adult films.
Yeah, I think there comes a point where you got to be like, this. It's not made. Even Star Wars, you can argue, people get so angry about that, but as someone famously put it on the internet once, it's a story about space wizards originally made for kids. So, you know, I think.
Yeah.
I think at the end of the day, any piece of media, if you're getting that pissy on the internet that you're starting campaigns and this, that, and the other, just get a fucking life. It's a film. It's a film. Films are great. We love films. They are important to tell stories.
I think you can be passionate about films, but don't let it... I think with everything, you know, I don't think it necessarily, you know, is just for films. I think it's for things in general. If something is so affecting your life that you have to repost about it, retweet about it senselessly, then
there's a line between like passion and obsession. I think that's the key difference.
But it's
you can be passionate about films, but you can also be obsessed, and
it's not me dissing people who are like really passionate, you know, really obsessive about stuff, because I guess there are times where obsession could possibly be seen as a good thing. But I think it's more of it's a worry about the person. You know, I think the person's got to be very careful to keep quite a healthy lifestyle. Anyway, we've gone down a sort of dark road where we're talking about obsessions and online abuse.
Basically,
in regards to Toy Story.
Not for us. I'm a little worried it's probably a bit of a cash grab. That makes me
very
sad.
Possible.
But not to the extent where I'm like, it's going to ruin my childhood. That's just
I'm not going to watch it
if you feel that way. No,
I've better things to do with.
I
hope it's good. I hope younger generations get to see Toy Story, and this is why I don't mind Toy Story 4 if it's good and if it's solid, which it is, because it's the new generation, in it. Why should new generations not have it?
I think the thing with being a fan and that getting obsessive, I think it's tackled beautifully in the latest Scream film. Not to reopen any discussions about that, but I think, I think the whole idea of toxic fandom is tackled pretty well in the latest Scream film. They sort of brilliantly shine a light on that. spoilers for... Not really spoilers, but kind of mild spoilers, I guess. That's touched on in the film.
Line of dialogue. Anyway.
Moving on from that scene of dialogue. Who's next on the list?
Cool, so Deep Kaboom. And then we've got the Sage.
Ah, the Sage, isn't it? I was getting worried.
The Sage from SpongeBob. Which SpongeBob film? What's it? The SpongeBob...
Sponge on the Run, I do.
On the Run, yeah, that's it.
Not sure why, because he's not on the run for any of the film, really, apart from the end.
No, it's sort of the original
like
SpongeBob movie rehash sort of thing.
Literally, it's like a Mad Libs version of it, and nowhere near as good or funny.
So Keanu Reeves, well, SpongeBob and Patrick, the beloved SpongeBob characters, pull into some sort of kind of cowboy land on land, and they meet a tumbleweed, but inside the tumbleweed is Keanu Reeves' head, who imposes some wisdom and then is left.
Indeed.
And his name is the Sage. So
Indeed.
It's an interesting one because he effectively has no power. He's a tumbleweed. I'm not sure if he can even control in which direction he roams.
I think we have to give him like directional control because he seems to always be where he wants to be. Like he shows
we'll give him
where he wants to
directional
show
control.
up.
He's very wise, so I'm willing to believe that maybe he could like talk someone out of sparing his life. But in a fight to the death, where he has no hands, opposable thumbs, or any form of weapon, I feel that power is going to be very limited in the long run, especially when a cat is there and you look somewhat like string, which is very fun for a cat.
Yeah. He's just going to get unravelled straight away.
He's in trouble. He's in trouble. And that's all we have to say about the Sage.
Yeah, he's it's a terrible film. Don't watch it. But Keanu Reeves is a tumbleweed sage.
Watch the original SpongeBob movie instead.
Yeah,
that film is not for kids; it's for adults.
It's just better in every way.
Next, we have humble Keanu Reeves, as I've written it down. But I think this goes for humble / weapons master, real life Keanu Reeves. Because
wow, okay.
There's a lot of footage on the internet of Keanu Reeves just in his day-to-day life. So you've got a lot of viral videos of him on the subway, being very humble, being very nice, giving up seats for women and elderly people. He rides the subway, which, the American version of the underground, which is seen as a very kind of, with the people sort of thing. He's not driving around in flashy cars. So he's very beloved for, his kindness and his down-to-earth chill attitude. He also goes on a lot of chat shows and says some really really good quote thing. He's actually got he's quite a philosopher, I'd say, in a way, because there's that one bit when he's on I forget what chat show he's on, but the guy the interviewer is sort of like, what do you think happens after we die, sort of, talking about existentialism and, going to heaven, is there an afterlife, is there reincarnation, blah blah blah, and he just goes, the people who love us will miss us, or something like that, and it's really kind of humble, and it's really kind of it's sort of beautiful in a very simplistic way, how he sort of kind of twists the sort of question to kind of give this quite moral, philosophical answer. And there's another one where he's on, I think, Drew Barrymore's chat show, and I've only seen a clip of this, where she's like, I'm not a fighter, I'm a lover. And he's like, no, you're wrong, because if you do not fight for what you love, then what kind of love do you have? And it's like,
oh my god.
Yeah, it's really kind of, and the way he puts it is really kind of powerful and really quite emotive, I even think. But I personally believe in that sort of logic, that you've got to be willing to, fight for the things that you love. hoping
Yeah,
that you
of
never
course.
have to,
Of course.
but also have that willingness.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, then, what is that? So, he's very down to earth.
If you're not willing to fight for love, if you're not willing to fight for love, then do you really love it? That's the question.
Exactly. So, he's very down to earth. He's very passionate. He's very philosophical. And then also, he releases footage with Halle Berry of him just on a gun range, just mowing down all these different targets in 16 seconds. And everyone around him. Go on.
I think wasn't that John Wick practice, or was it just
I think it
him
was.
messing around?
Thing. I have a sense that it was, for John Wick, but I also get this kind of this aura from it that it was it felt quite a hobby thing. It felt quite casual. It felt like they were all there because they were enjoying it, even if it was for work on a film. But yeah, he finishes this kind of gun range course thing in about 16 seconds, and everyone's like, "Oh my god, you did it in 16 seconds!" And then Keanu's just he just kind of nods his head and just goes,
"Cool,
that was clean." And it's so badass. Oh. So in real life, he's humble, he's philosophical, he's a badass. I feel he should get a spot in this battle.
Absolutely. I think the strongest part of Keanu Reeves, the actor, is Keanu Reeves, the person. Definitely. I think, as you said, he's given a number of interviews. He's had a lot of personal tragedy in his life. He lost his wife, and I believe she was pregnant, or they had a kid at the time. Wow. But either way, he lost a wife and child in one car crash. Yeah, and he still, he carried on. There's all sorts of stories about him donating, or taking a massive pay cut, so the rest of the crew gets a pay rise. I think he gave a car to someone because they were struggling. He's breathtaking, as that one Comic-Con clip will let you know.
Oh, yeah.
You're breathtaking! You're breathtaking!
That's such a funny scene. That's a funny moment, even. So yeah, he's just a nice guy, and even if he doesn't win this battle royale, he wins our hearts. And
he's the people's champion. And
this is what I meant, at the start when I was talking about his performance in Dracula. It doesn't matter, his performance in that actually adds. It actually makes the film more entertaining and more enjoyable. I'd rather, it's much better that he's a humble who can't do a British accent.
Yeah.
Whenever the film was made, than
the
opposite. So
it adds to the charm of the film at the end of the day.
Exactly, I love it. So, lastly, number 10. It's a bit of a niche one, but I've got things to say about this film.
Okay.
And the film,
so it's not a Cyberpunk 2077 Keanu Reeves,
no,
Mr. Johnny Silverhand.
No, although I did see that
mess.
No, the film I've chosen is one called Knock Knock.
Now,
it's not a very well-known film. It's not a very.
That's the one with Ana de Armas and the other
it
blonde
is.
girl who rock
and
up on his
because
door,
I watched this. I may have watched this. Maybe I didn't go to the I didn't go to the cinema to watch this, but I watched it. Not too long after it came out, and Ana de Armas wasn't very well known. But of course, researching this and watching it back, I'm like, oh shit, that's Ana de Armas. And the other girl in it is, I believe, the director Eli Roth's wife or girlfriend, or maybe something like that. And what can I say about this film? It is, at its core, a softcore porno that never kicks off. And that is about it. I finished it because I don't think I'd seen a Eli Roth film, but I think when you're into film, you hear Eli Roth. I imagine he's done some good stuff. Not that I'm aware of it. Certainly not watching.
I'm sure he has.
But he's a very well-known director. So I went into this being like, okay, let's see. Oh, he did Hostel. Oh, okay. No, okay. This adds
cultural
up
classic Hostel.
Yep, this is adding up now. So basically, what you have Keanu Reeves, who's a very loving husband. His family, his children, his wife are going away on holiday while he stays at home and works because, gosh, he's such a good father. And, he prioritizes hard work over a good time. What a lovely man. And then while he's working, 2 girls knock on his door. And they're like, oh, can we come in and make a phone call? It's raining outside, blah, 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 blah. They come in and they essentially try and fuck him. He says no. And then after a while, they convince him. They fuck, and then they tie him up, and essentially tease him. They don't do anything kind of satanic or evil quite yet. They just sort of tease that they'll fuck him and send the footage to his wife and stuff, and that's all it is. And then some friend of his turns up who conveniently has fucking asthma. So whenever he tries to stop 2 girls who are very kind of small and people you could realistically beat in a fight, of course he has a fucking asthma attack and dies because it's fucking severe asthma as well. And then they just continue with their porn games. They bury him alive. They bury Keanu Reeves with his head sticking out the ground. And they go, well, this is what you get for fucking other girls, even though we came onto you and we sort of borderline did it unconsensually. And then they leave, and then it sort of ends on this thing. It's sort of this kind of idea that the man is being punished for having an affair. And the film ends with the wife coming home after the holiday, and and it's like, oh, the wife's gonna find out that he cheated on her. Even though he could just go, oh, essentially 2 people broke in and effectively assaulted me, to say the least. Yeah. And it's fucking dreadful.
It did give birth to that iconic meme, the ending, didn't it? When he's buried up to his neck because they stick the phone in front of him and he's sort of like forced to watch something.
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's the clip of them having sex. Is it that being sent to his wife live or something?
Yeah, something like that. It's just like a softcore porno, and I was like, oh, Eli Roth, he's famous for something, so he must be good. Foolish fucking logic.
I don't get what the point is, other than.
Yeah,
I don't get what the point is, other than let's have Ana de Armas get her tits out. Seems to be the only point.
It's essentially that, and she looks quite young at the time. He's got a girlfriend at the time, so he's essentially got a girl who's attractive and his girlfriend, fucking Keanu Reeves, and you can only say this is some kind of sick sexual thrill that the director's getting from this. There's no attempt at story.
Wants to be cucked by Keanu.
Essentially, it's a softcore. It's like, I'm a famous director. Let's use my girlfriend and hire a up and coming Hollywood actress and Keanu Reeves, and let's do a softcore porn. And it was infuriating because I was watching it, and I hate to say it, Keanu Reeves is not good at it. I don't think he portrays terror and unwillingness very well, but he's like, no, stop, please. You can't do this to me. Release me now. And it's like, fucking hell, God. I don't blame Keanu. I blame the director who made such an offensive film in my head. It's offensive because I feel that there's no attempt to make this an actual kind of compelling film. There's no intent to, have some good writing, to have some good shots, to have interesting characters, to have an interesting set, to pay off a very loose theme. It is just getting his girlfriend and an up-and-coming attractive actress who, because she's up-and-coming, can, would be more willing to make such a vapid film. It infuriates me.
Is there, from what I've seen / heard about it, is there much of a whole, he's slowly being seduced thing, or is it just a kind of case of they go there, they immediately fuck him pretty much, that's basically it?
Well, at the start he's like, no, I've got a wife, it's nice that you think this, but, I've got a, and he stays loyal for the majority of it. But even if we're going with the whole, like, this is a man's slow fall to, having an affair, it's not very rich, it's not very in depth. It's Keanu Reeves standing there for 15 minutes just going, oh, I've got a wife, you know. And then they get in the shower and he's just like, oh, okay then.
I mean,
if I feel like Mark Kermode or something, because I'm getting my inner like film critic persona out, where I'm just like, this is so there's nothing. This film
feels
is
like a very
attempting
pointless
nothing.
film.
It's a film, you know, I believe that there's a director who has, you know, some fetish he wants to play with his girlfriend or something at the time. So he makes a film and he tries to use a somewhat a plot to kind of convince other people that this is actually good and to kind of send it around to and release it and to make some money from it. I believe the cause of the film being this director's kind of sexual fantasy over let's make a film that thematically covers the consequences of an affair in a sort of horror style. But it just went badly. I think it's pretty awful.
Yeah.
I don't think it's scary. It's annoying that, you know, characters should and can escape and can overpower two fairly small girls, but, you know, they've got to have some, you know, deadly fucking condition, which means they can't.
I mean, do you get any backstory on these girls? Do you know why they are out there just to fuck Keanu Reeves over? Did he I don't know, kill their dog? Twist of fate.
No,
Twist of fate.
So they come to the house with the illusion that they're like going to a party, I think, and they need to call their friend because they're going to a party. That's about as detailed as you get, I believe. And then at the end, I think they go, oh, we do this to lots of men. You know, we go from door to door, you know, well, not door to door. Just a spate of men in very middle-class homes getting... Anyway. But they go around and they find men who they can... They find men that they can, you know, can manipulate and... This is the thing, they sort of have this thing that they are there to punish the men. They're there to punish cheating, evil men who would dare abuse the relationships they have. And, you know, he does have an affair. But for the vast majority of the film, he stays loyal to his wife. So you'd feel that he wouldn't be a great target, or he at least passed the test. But to some degree.
Yeah.
It's not like he was a cheater. He cheated on his wife before they came, and, you know, he was known for being a sort of unloyal. It's just a bad film. And I wanted to put this in the list so we could have a nice discussion about how much
I borderline assault
test. Yeah.
Fair enough. I feel if you have to borderline assault someone, they have to pass this test.
Well, they rape him. They effectively just rape him.
Good.
Yeah.
So what you're saying is this film's sole contribution to the world is some dodgy material for Pornhub and that one meme where Keanu Reeves is stuck in the mud and there's that phone.
Basically, yeah. And, you know, there's a fun section of Keanu Reeves just being tied up, just going, no, please, I've told you that. And that's the thing, the dialogue is not original, it's just a man. It's like, it's just a guy just going, no, please, don't do this. You know, it's hardly, you know,
you've got to
Oscar-winning dialogue. Yeah, exactly. It's the most generic stuff ever. And yeah, so in regards to that character, I don't even know what his name is. Evan Weber. Doesn't matter. He's
Evan Weber.
Reeves. He's Keanu Reeves in the film. He gets defeated by two girls who could kill him at many points. So yeah, he's screwed. He may be weaker than Jonathan Harker. At least Jonathan Harker was going up against a vampire. He's a bit of a chump here, man.
So, have you got a wild card to round off this?
I do have a wild card, and it's a bit different from other weeks because we like to have sort of humorous wild cards. You know, we had an eye before, a literal eye. You know, we had Megamind, and I sort of wanted to make this a little bit, instead of a little bit more comical, let's just make it a bit more interesting. Okay. Keanu Reeves is famous for the Matrix film, right? And one of my favourite characters, if not my favourite character in The Matrix, of course, is Agent Smith. The
Oh.
the sort of physical embodiment of the physical villain of the film who goes up against Neo in the Matrix. And I feel this is interesting because, again, he's powerful. He's got a lot of guns, so I think he will maybe last a bit more in this.
He can, like... Yeah.
He sort of has similar powers to Neo, but he's not as good. No, well, he does... He's got... I think he's got bullet time, because there's a bit... in the first one where he dodges it. He's got guns.
He can, like, duplicate himself, can't he? Like, I swear I've seen, like, footage of him, like, there's multiple hymns.
Yes. I can't remember if he does it in the first one or if that happens in other ones. I don't know if it's just other agents that are with him. But, you know, he keeps up with Neo. The final fight is a long fight sequence, and he's more than kicking Neo's ass. So he's he's a test for Neo. So I feel it'll be a test for everyone else. Also because he's hunting down Neo, and he knows, I guess, in the context of this, who Neo is, what he looks like. I believe that he will see everyone in this arena as being some kind of version of Neo, the one. So he'll sort of be like, holy fuck, the one is all these people. So he sort of has 10. This... I feel he has this mission to try and kill all of them, not just Neo. Like, he's not just going after Neo. Although he will recognise Neo the most because it's Neo. But he'll also go, oh my god, that's also Neo. And that's also... So he's gonna be fucking all guns blazing, just going mental, firing shots everywhere.
I feel he'll gun for Neo first in the hopes that will, like, cancel out all the other Neos and then, like,
quite possibly, yeah. Mr. Anderson. I forget who bloody plays him again. I completely forgot his name.
Oh, it's
really
Red Skull, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's Red Skull and what's his name?
Lord of the Rings. I really like him.
It's not Hugo Weaving.
Hugo Weaving. That's it. Nice one. Yeah, I'm a big fan. And I just think he's going to add a new dimension. He's going to add a threat. He's sort of effectively going to be hunting all these Neos down. And he's going to be a dangerous competitor and someone who could last in this battle.
Our first wildcard who actually lasts more than 2 seconds. Interesting.
Well, we'll see. With that in mind...
he can't be defeated before 2 human characters, surely.
So that's everyone we have. We have Ted, Jonathan Harker, the guy from Speed, Neo from The Matrix, Keanu the Cat, John Wick, Duke Kaboom, Sage, Humble, Keanu Reeves, and Keanu Reeves from Knock Knock, because he is just Keanu Reeves in that film. And then also Agent Smith, Hugo Weaving.
Quite the lineup. Quite the
I'm
battle.
excited. I'm excited.
Indeed.
There's a range.
So,
yeah.
Bell rings.
Hang on. Should we discuss the backdrop of the battle?
Oh, of course, yes. Now, if we want to give Neo his Matrix powers, I would suggest it takes place somewhere in the Matrix.
Yes. Sure, why not? I was thinking originally we could have a rooftop, maybe, because there's a lot of rooftop scenes in the Matrix, but I thought, well, because there's a bus, maybe it wouldn't be the best idea. So maybe it's on like a blank city streets. So a city street, lots of skyscrapers around, middle of the street.
Yeah. I was just thinking, since we have a Toy Story character, what if it's, because given this is the Matrix and everything can be like altered, what if it's like a giant-sized version of like Andy's bedroom? So like toys remain the same size, but like it's like a bed that's like the size of a building.
Okay. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do Andy's bedroom. We own this show. We decide. Let's do Andy's bedroom. A giant or we just do it where it's a normal sized thing, so it's just so many people crammed in.
We'll do flattens everyone instantly.
So the Matrix has created a reality similar to Toy Story, where there are giant beds instead of skyscrapers. There's giant cupboards, wardrobes, toys that aren't sentient, Okay.
Essentially, in this simulation, all the regular people are the size of the toys in proportion to the room, but the actual toy remains its size in relation to the other Neos.
Yes,
so,
I get you.
Or the other Keanus.
I get you. So, with that said, Andy's bedroom, all the characters suddenly emerge with the sole motive to fight to the death. The bell rings.
It's playtime, motherfucker.
Going into this, I had the thought, a pre-existing thought that they know they need to fight to the death.
Yeah.
Neo sees Agent Smith. Agent Smith sees Neo.
Yeah.
I feel they just immediately unload their machine guns and are just sort of firing it at each other, but also dodge it. It's a sort of weird reality in the Matrix where they're just unloading ricochet, so many bullets, machine gun after machine gun, and they're just sort of firing it across the room. Immediately. They're both very switched on characters.
I feel they're charging towards each other as well, doing the whole leap thing they do.
I feel they'd stop shooting their guns and using bullet things, and then when they run out of their bullets, going into a more hand-to-hand combat situation,
Okay.
So
they can maybe dive behind some alpha blocks, take cover behind some giant alpha blocks.
Yeah. So I feel they're immediately just shooting at each other and dodging each other's bullets like the crazy mofos they are. Everyone has to... This is central, so everyone has to sort of disperse and get into cover from these warlords just unloading weapons.
I think the moment they start firing, I feel that there is one character who just doesn't like all the violence. And so Keanu from Knock Knock runs into the middle of them with his iconic dialogue. No, please, stop, don't do
put an end to this.
I just get shredded by the bullets instantly. He's caught in a crossfire. He's just ripped apart.
How about, in fact, rather than trying to stop the bloodshed and running into the gunfire, how about they've all spawned? He is in between Neo and Agent Smith, and they're in slow-mo as they push back their cloaks and get out their weapons. He's just no, stop, please, and then they start firing. So he's just in the middle, just absolutely destroyed by machine gun fire. Everyone else dispersing immediately.
Just minimal agency. He doesn't even get to choose to be there. He's just there, just ripped apart. Yeah. Just shredded.
So I think Knock Knock Keanu Reeves dead. Now, I feel in a weird way some of the, I guess, more stupid, let's say quote marks, characters are sort of safe. So Duke Kaboom, the Sage, Keanu the cat.
Duke Kaboom plays dead. I think he uses what we'll call the Boba, or the Boba droid defense. When he plays dead as part of the scenery.
Boba.
Yeah. He plays dead as part of the scenery, the droid did. So he's
quite possibly. But I think no one's going to go for a Sage. They don't feel that they're a threat. They don't think a cat's a threat. They don't think a toy's a threat. So I think in a weird way they're going to be safe. My question to
someone's going to go for the Sage, however. The cat, as you pointed out, is going to be enticed by the ball of string.
Actually, that's true.
So the cat's going to go for the Sage.
And he's just kind of clawing at it and clawing at the Sage. Now, what can the Sage really do in response, except from sort of being whoa, cat, you want to chill out? But the cat, I'm guessing, doesn't understand English.
I believe. Now, could he use his wisdom to call another fighter to his defence? Because, from my understanding, Bill and Ted can be... not easily influenced, but if he hears a wise figure, he's likely to listen to them. So could he call Ted to his defence?
Okay. So let's role play this. So, do you want to be the Sage and I'll be Ted?
I'll be the Sage. Yeah.
Okay. So you're just getting clawed at by a cat.
Ow! Dude! Please stop! Little man! Little creature!
Whoa!
Hey, Ted.
Whoa, you're talking bush, man.
I have a quest for you, Ted. An adventure, if you will.
Another one?
A quest.
Wow.
An excellent adventure. Could you please pick up this cat and stop it attacking me?
Oh, I don't want to hurt it.
You don't have to hurt it.
Oh, okay.
Find the courage within you. Find the courage within you, and in return, I'll grant you the challenge token.
Oh, rock on, man. Okay, so Ted picks up Keanu the cat and stops the cat from clawing. Maybe he holds it at a bit of a distance because it's quite a feisty cat. But the sage is now safe. A bit of damage. A few hairs of straw pulled apart. But Ted is just holding this cat. I have a question for you. So while Neo and Agent Smith are just unloading gunfire on each other.
Oh yeah, our roleplay. I guess you should have been like shouting a bit more of this. It's all this gunfire going on.
Yeah. They're shouting,
dude.
Agent Smith's Mr. Anderson. My question is, what is John Wick doing in this situation?
Now, I believe the sound of gunfire is not alien to Mr. John Wick, of course.
No, it is not.
However, he also sees a cat who is in, well, not really distress, he's just been picked up, but if the cat's agitated, is that enough to, like, cause John Wick's PTSD from his dog? And, like, he immediately goes to try and defend this cat that he perceives to be the victim?
I'm gonna say no. However,
he's going to resist the call of the animal. Interesting.
Well, I don't think the cat's particularly struggling or in harm, or Ted's not hurting the cat, so I don't think John Wick is going to be inclined to get involved.
Cat's not, but from John Wick's point of view, does he not just see a very agitated cat sort of clawing whilst being picked up? And for all he knows, Ted is about to dropkick this poor cat across the room.
Here's my question. Does he get involved in the Neo Agent Smith battle, or knowing it's a fight to the death, does he unsheath an assault rifle and just start chugging, mowing people down?
I think. Okay, so he sees. I think he is an assassin. He's a smart dude. So I do think you're probably right. He probably, before he goes for the cat, he'll probably notice the dominant threat in the room, which is the fuck off gunfight going on.
Yeah,
I think he sees other him. Naturally, he thinks, well, this must be the side I want to fight on. It's literally me shooting this other dude. So I think he pulls his rifles out and joins the gunfight alongside Neo against Agent Smith.
Okay. It's interesting. Because
so it's now two Keanus versus Agent Smith.
Now, does Agent Smith die immediately and actually prove to be another terrible wild card? Or does he, sensing this danger, try and hide for cover in order to reapproach his fight?
What we must ask ourselves here is a pivotal question in Keanu Reeves' career. Which is faster, bullet time or John Wick's reflexes?
This is a tricky one. This is a very tricky one.
Because John Wick is a fast man, but bullet time is also pretty fast.
I'm really not sure.
I think we'll grant Agent Smith the dodge, because given how even in John Wick he does have some trouble with some regular.
He hides behind the leg of a chair in Andy's room, or the leg of the bed. Okay.
He
so
dies
he goes
behind
into cover.
a giant chair leg.
Now John Wick, the gunfire stops. I guess Neo's still going to hunt down for Agent Smith, so he's going to try and run off and pursue Agent Smith. Does John Wick then go to the next big threat, which is just, this is a fight to the death, and does he just start unloading on people?
I think he does. I think he's like, right, I know what I've got to do. The main gunfight has ceased. It's now a more quiet affair, so he can come back to that later. I think he now goes for his second primary target, which I do think is the cat. He sees an animal in distress, and he's PTSD kicks in. He's like, I've got to save the animal. Not again. Not on my watch.
So poor Ted's gonna get a bullet to the head immediately.
I think he gets, just immediately John Wick. Just bam, bam, bam. 3 key bullets. He's down.
Like 2 to the stomach and then 1 to the head. Kills Ted off instantly.
Just straight away.
I think...
He not even a chance. Just, straight through the lungs, 1 to the brain. He barely gets to breathe. He's just down.
I also feel that he turns his gun after he does that, because he's very quick. He turns his gun immediately to the next person in sight, which is going to be Jonathan Harker. Holds his gun up to him. However, beforehand, he hears a gruff noise, a whirring, a mechanical sort of grinding coming towards him, and he turns to see a bus travelling at over 50 miles per hour hurtling towards him. Before he can get the fire off, John Wick masterfully does a roll and dodges the truck, I would say.
Okay, yeah. No, I'm buying on this.
Follow my line. So, the bus hurtles towards him. He rolls out of the way stealthily. This gives Jonathan Harker a chance, because he knows this is a fight to the death. He knows he's got to do something. So he goes over to fight John Wick, hand-to-hand combat. John Wick grabs him, flips him immediately, bang, bang in the stomach, bang in the head.
Oh, now, before he's immediately executed, I have a final possible defence for Jonathan.
Go on.
Does he not call upon his greatest strength in Dracula, exposition, and say, in terms of where Agent Smith is, I know where the bastard sleeps, in the hopes of getting him on side so they can together finish off Agent Smith?
I would say, regardless, he says, I know where the bastard sleep. John Wick's like, where? And he's like, oh, he's behind the bed frame. He's under the bed. Which John Wick already knows. I think this only ends with Jonathan Harker getting 2 bullets to the chest and then 1 to the head.
Yeah, I think he's capped pretty quickly. He's bought himself a few extra seconds. He's got an iconic line, and he's dead.
Mm. Awesome. So, who do we have? We've got Duke Kaboom, Sage, Keanu. Now, I think Keanu's going to be safe at John Wick's aid. Do we think John Wick takes Keanu with him? Maybe stuffs him into his pocket?
I think Keanu in his pocket.
Well, okay, maybe he's a bit big for the pocket.
Oh, I thought you meant actual Keanu, not little Duke Kaboom.
Real humble real life Keanu's still in this, isn't he?
Yeah, because I was going to say, I think he sees what's going on. He just tries to talk everyone down because he's a wholesome being. He sees everything happening, and I think he sees John Wick as the main aggressor and just says, "Hey, dude, what's going on, man? What's going on? Mm-hmm. You're breathtaking. You're breathtaking."
Do you think that matched with the shape the sage is philosophical advice? Both of them combined can maybe calm John Wick down.
I think so. I think here's what happens. Real Keanu rocks up carrying an injured Sage in his arms to let him rest because he's just so nice. Mm-hmm. And they both together talk down John Wick from his bloodlust.
But this is a fight to the death. So is John Wick going, no, this is a fight to the death and shooting them, or does he get convinced? No, I'm perfectly happy to buy that he gets convinced. I'm just wondering.
I think he's convinced. I think he's in classic badass fashion. He's convinced, but he goes, "When the time comes, I will kill you."
Oh, okay.
And real life Keanu goes, "I understand, brother, but I will put up a fight." So we've sown a seed of conflict for later.
Oh, okay.
There's a narrative here. There's an epic narrative. We're storytellers. It's it's not just a battle.
He tells them to hide, get somewhere safe, while he is going to go and help Neo, and Agent Smith, because they're also the aggressors. So I imagine the sage and humble Keanu Reeves to sort of go, you need to sort of talk them down, dude, or you need to sort of calm them down, man. Which I feel...
That's it.
they send John Wick to sort of calm them both down. But I would say
now,
the only way John Wick knows how to do that is with the bullets in his gun. So he maybe misinterprets the message.
He just hears "stop them" and he's like, "I'll stop them permanently." He's like, "Oh God, no!"
Yeah, but it's too late. He's gone.
There's an extra strength here that I'm not sure if we can give or not. Real life Keanu has played all these characters, so does he not know their strengths and weaknesses?
I'm going to say no. Let's assume no prior knowledge.
Yeah, our usual podcast rules apply. He's had some sort of memory wipe upon spawning. He no longer recalls playing any of these people. Yeah.
So,
but yeah, I think he takes a sage. They take cover in a little. Well, I'll say a giant Lego castle or house or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Some sort of Lego building.
Castle. You'd also, what I would argue is underneath a bed is very similar in light, in grubbiness, to a underground abandoned sort of tube station, which the final conflict in the Matrix happens. So,
okay.
Do we assume that the gun ammunition from Agent Smith and Neo are now gone? They're now having a fist-to-fit, a hand-to-hand combat inside this under the bed.
I believe so. Yeah.
Now, what I will pose to you, Dan, is there's this notion that Agent Smith is sort of can be defeated by being thrown in front of a train. Now, we don't have a train, but we do have a bus.
But we do have a bus.
So,
and I was about to bring up the bus. I feel like the bus has had to, at this point, turn around before it hits the wall and start heading back towards our fight anyway. So I think it's on the trajectory towards.
So Neo and Agent Smith are fighting hand-to-hand combat. There is a bus nearby, approaching them. What happens?
I think... Now, I've not seen the end of The Matrix, but if Agent Smith can be defeated by going in front of a train, I think Neo pulls out his timeless technique and just kicks him, probably with some sweet-ass roundhouse kick, directly into the path of this bus, just before it hits them, and Agent Smith is splattered across the front of the bus from speed.
Quite possibly. What I'm going to do, I can't remember if he does die by getting hit by a bus or he survives.
Okay. I see. I know what happens here, right? So, Agent Smith gets hit by the bus. Maybe dead, maybe not, but either way, he's taking up the windscreen. They can't see. Now, this fight is taking place under a bed, which relies on supports, I'd imagine. So, unable to see, they swerve the bus blindly. It goes straight into one of the bed supports, explodes, taking out the supports of the bed. The entire bed collapses, and I don't know how close Neo is to the edge, but maybe he's also flattened. And so Neo, Smith, and Bus are flattened and just destroyed all together.
I think Bus splatters Agent Smith. I think... Because I feel that the bus would, knowing how careful they'd be with this bus, wouldn't just drive head first, even if, he's distracted by the splatter. I also think he would try, he'd avoid the wall quite sensitively. The only way he wouldn't be able to avoid the wall is if his wheels were shot out by John Wick, extra specialist marksman. So maybe... John Wick shoots the wheels of the bus. So So Neo and Agent Smith are fighting under the bed. John Wick is running towards the bed. He's running in that direction. He sees the Hummer of the bus. He hears the Hummer of the bus again, dodges it again, because I imagine he probably could, and seeing the bus zoom off in the direction of the bed, he shoots out the wheels of the bus. Now, the bus has lost all control, and it's heading straight for Neo and Agent Smith. Neo tosses Agent Smith, roundhouse kick, super kicks him, into the path of the bus. The bus has no control, smacks Agent Smith, crashes into the wall, brings down the entire bed. I would say Neo escapes being flattened, but Speed, Keanu Reeves, and Agent Smith get crushed.
Yeah, they're done for. The bus is exploded, so Speed, Keanu is dead anyway, but they're also flattened. It's
yeah, it's the end.
Yeah, they're done for. They're done for.
Even though in the Matrix, Agent Smith is sort of quite difficult to kill. I feel in the context of this,
I feel like if you're hit by a bus, crushed into a bed support, and then it exploded, and then have the entire bed collapse on you when you're like tiny in relation to the bed, I feel like that's got to be an elimination. Otherwise, he's just gonna win.
Yeah, exactly. So we have the Matrix, Keanu Reeves, Keanu the Cat, John Wick, Duke Kaboom, Sage, and humble Keanu Reeves. Now, can I ask, now that the cat's been put down because Ted's been just massacred, does it go for the Sage again? To which I imagine humble Keanu Reeves would just pick it up again. But I imagine that plays out.
Yeah. I think what happens is, he goes for the Sage, humble Keanu picks up the cat, and then John Wick clocks this. And then humble Keanu clocks John Wick, and then they both pull out their guns. And I think humble Keanu, the Chad that he is, could he get the shot off first? Could he kill John Wick in a Wild West style shootout?
No. I think in a gun-to-gun fight. I know he's breathtaking, but I think if we're going to go down the line that anyone who touches the cat immediately is murdered by John Wick, even from a distance. John Wick takes him out, clean bullet in the head. To which the Sage is just like, holy fuck.
Now I think what happens here is humble Keanu, alright, I'll grant that he's shot, but he was holding the cat. So as he's falling, does the cat
John Wick doesn't
off
miss
the top of the Lego building?
Okay, so let's visualize this. So they're at the top of like a Lego castle, watching the scene unfold on the sort of the barricade. Is it the barricade? No, on the on top of the castle. The cat starts attacking the Sage. Sage's like, whoa, get off, man. And then humble Keanu picks up the cat. Is John Wick too far away to notice this, potentially? Or does he
is
notice?
A master assassin. I don't know. I feel like as a master assassin, he's...
How far away do we reckon he is?
I don't feel it's too far, because they'd have had to get up into the castle and to the top within the space of the events that have just occurred. So I don't think it's long.
Okay.
I don't think it's far.
So maybe a street away.
Yeah.
Okay, so the length of a street. Okay, I think John Wick could see that. He also has Neo next to him. So what's going to be John Wick's priority? Is it going to be killing Neo or saving the cat?
Now, is Neo the sort of character who would be able to, say, look behind you and sort of point towards the cat, or would he just be totally unconcerned with...
He's able to do it. Would that be a tactic
he'd employ?
I'm not sure it would be in his character. I think he's more violent.
Okay. So maybe what happens is John Wick, would he hear... He could probably hear a cat wailing, because cats' voices...
Yeah, maybe when the bed collapses, they dive for cover, and, the way he lands, he's facing up at the castle's direction. That sort of kind of hazy... white noise, static thing wipes over both Neo and John Wick's face. So maybe
Neo
he does.
Takes a moment. Neo takes a moment to contemplate defeating his mortal foe. He's like, he's just enjoying the peace, knowing he's finally done it. So he's not immediately gunning for John Wick, which gives him the chance to notice the cat.
Okay, so if John, I think if John Wick notices the cat, humble Keanu Reeves is dead. No question. Bullet to the head.
Keanu, no!
And anyone who picks up that cat is a dead man.
So, all right, yeah, humble Keanu he's shot dead, but as he dies, does he drop the cat over the edge of the castle? That remains the question.
Sure. Why not? So John Wick watches the cat he's trying to protect fall the height of a castle. Now, I know cats have 9 lives, but I imagine it's not good for the cat. Now, what I would posture to you, John Wick sees a cat. He knows it's plummeting to its death. Does he try to give it a merciful killing by just copping a bullet in the head of the cat? Doesn't feel anything.
I think he does.
So he also kills the cat. The irony that he kills the thing he's been trying to save.
There's just so much poetry in this fight. It's beautiful. So he kills the cat to bear it splattered over the Lego moat death.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have Neo, John Wick, Duke Kaboom, and the Sage left.
The Sage is just at the top of his castle now, just chilling. He's a bit more torn, but he's not dead completely yet.
Do you think, knowing that he will be dying soon, that he just tries to roll away, he tries to hide?
I think so. I mean, he's pretty secure in the castle on his own at the moment, so I think, he just takes cover in, one of the rooms. I guess what we've got to dictate... What if he dons a Lego suit of armour? Because if it's a castle, it might have some knight armour. Can he pilot the knight armour from within?
Well, he doesn't have any hands, so I don't see how.
Maybe he just hides in it.
Okay, maybe he hides in a suit of armour. A tumbleweed hides in a suit of armour. What we've got to establish, really, who wins in a fight between Neo and John Wick?
This is what everyone's been waiting for. The two heavy hitters. Now, I think Neo has some basically superpowers in this situation. John Wick's good, but he's still ultimately a human, whereas Neo has basically superpowers. So I feel he's got the edge, if we're honest.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because we've established earlier on that Neo's run out of bullets and is now back to hand-to-hand combat. And I think in hand-to-hand combat, Neo probably wins. But John Wick still has his gun. And although we could recreate the whole scene with the bullet time, so John Wick fires his gun with the bullet time, but what you may not know, if you haven't seen the film, is that at the end of that sequence of bullet time, Neo is hit by one of the bullets Agent Smith fires, and calls on the help of Trinity, his partner in the film. So I feel if we go down the route of John Wick firing bullets at Neo and Neo dodging the bullet time, it ends with Neo capping a bullet to the knee and then getting 2 shots to the chest and 1 to the head.
Yeah, I feel okay. I feel like we'll go with that then. We basically do the entire scene, but John Wick takes the place of Agent Smith, and there's no Trinity. No Trinity this time, so he's fucked. Yeah.
Yep. So
Neo is down.
Is gone with Agent Smith. I thought them two would last a lot longer, to be honest, but again,
they did fairly well.
It makes sense, I think. So now, essentially, we're down to John Wick, Duke Kaboom, and the Sage.
So what we're saying is the 3 most powerful John Wick, Keanu Reeves characters are John Wick, a bit of tumbleweed, and a toy.
Essentially.
They're the 3 last standing.
Essentially, yes. So, okay, who's John Wick killing first? Let's be real about this.
Yeah, it's a case of how does this go. I think at this point, Duke Kaboom has to give up the play dead act. It's too much has passed.
I
feel
imagine he'd try and gain sympathy from John Wick, so he'd tell him of the backstory. He'd say how he was rejected as a toy. You know what rejection feels like, don't you? Don't you, Mr. Wick? You know what it feels like to lose somebody you loved, Mr. Wick?
And then maybe he plays extra bonus points. He mentions how under the bed that he helped collapse were all of his toy friends. The toy box was under the bed. So John Wick indirectly helped murder all of Duke Kaboom's friends. They're all gone because of him.
Yeah.
So
do you know what I think happens next?
I think John Wick just snaps him in half.
Yep. I don't think John Wick gives two shits.
Maybe a single tear rolls down his cheek from the guilt of murdering a whole box of toys, but ultimately he knows what he's got to do. He's an assassin. So he snaps it in half and chucks both halves to the floor. It's over. It's
John Wick versus the Sage, a living tumbleweed. He stands outside the castle. Mr. Tumbleweed!
John Wick.
Tumbleweed... Well, is he going to have to hide? Or is he going to try and be noble in death and just kind of roll outside the castle?
I think the Tumbleweed tries some final words of wisdom. I think he rolls out and he's like, John Wick, Jonathan, Nathaniel, Wickerton. You have taken much blood this day. It's Wickerton, I've changed it. You've taken much blood this day. You've taken many lives. Does it not weigh heavy on your conscience, Mr. Wick? Are you not burdened by the weight of the lives you've taken?
Oh, he is.
Spare me, a humble tumbleweed, and know that your conscience will be a little lighter this day.
And what is John Wick's response?
I feel like he's probably going to mercilessly rip apart this tumbleweed with a hail of bullets. Maybe John Wick just goes, that cat, he died because of you. Not directly, but he wanted to kill you. So I want to kill you. And then just rips him apart with the hail of bullets.
Yeah, I believe it. I buy that. So what we're saying is the winner of Keanu Reeves' Fightography is none other than Jonathan Wick.
Jonathan Nathaniel Wickerton.
Is no surprise, really. Not much of a surprise.
Nah.
I guess
the only real challenge he had was Neo, really. That was the one where it could have come down to it. But...
And he was sort of distracted by Agent Smith, really.
Yeah.
I think it's the first, maybe one of our first instances of a complete, blowout. One character just being so dominant and just taking so
essentially,
and being the favourite from pretty much the start. Although Neo may have been up there as well. Maybe Neo could have flown, but I don't know. I think he didn't fly when he was fighting Agent Smith, albeit he maybe didn't learn how to fly at that point. But that's what we got to consider. It's difficult, but that's what we got to consider. And I think John Wick just cleans people out. Did John Wick get every kill?
Not every kill. Not directly every kill, I don't think. Hang on. Or did he?
So he killed Ted. He killed Jonathan Harker. He sort of manslaughtered Speed, and in doing so manslaughtered Agent Smith. He killed Keanu. He killed Duke Kaboom. He killed the Sage. And he killed humble Keanu Reeves. He didn't kill Knock Keanu Reeves is the only person he didn't kill.
That was Agent Smith /
You know
Neo,
what? I feel that's completely in character. I feel John Wick in a room with 10 people. It doesn't matter who they are. It doesn't matter if they're toys. Doesn't matter if they're superpowered, proficient battleheads.
Yeah.
I think he just wipes them all down. Goes home.
I think we'll be generous. We'll give part of the Agent Smith kill to Speed Keanu, because it was his bust that ultimately hit him and blew him up. So I think we'll give that.
You've got to say the man again for the first time, man of the match and winner, being John Wick as well.
Yeah, it's well played, Mr. Wick. It's,
who maybe didn't put up much of a
Baba
fight.
Yaga.
I'm proud Jonathan Harker tried to put up a fight, died instantly, died within seconds.
I think if anything, the underperformer might be humble Keanu. I don't know. I think he could have done more damage because Neo did pretty well. He did about as well as you could expect.
But this is the thing. He was being peaceful, and when he didn't have to be peaceful, he was up against someone better than him. So
yeah, I think our surprising man of the match, or not man of the match because that goes to John Wick, but like a shout out to the Wise Sage for coming second to the winner as some tumbleweed.
Trying to talk everyone out of it. Yeah, I think that was a very clever strategic. The only thing you could do, really. Sadly, I wish Agent Smith did better, but I feel he went as far as he could, realistically.
Yeah. He had his purpose. He stuck to it. He failed, but that's the purpose of the villain in some films, to fail. So yeah, I think...
that is the winner. John Wick.
Beautiful. Looking back on last week's episode, we've got some thoughts. The Twitter poll had a surprising winner. Would you like to know who, last time I checked, came out on top of the Twitter poll?
Go for it.
It was none other than, I'll just check it's still the top one now. It still is.
The Matt Berry
with 100% of the vote. Yeah, from last week's Matt Berry Fightography, spoilers if you've not listened yet, the winner of the poll with 100% of the vote, albeit not a very big vote, was the Boba Fett droid.
What?
People wanted the Boba Fett droid to win.
Well, I think when it comes to Boba, whatever, I don't care. When it comes to the TV show, we're all losers.
Yeah. And on that note,
John Wick, winner of the Keanu Reeves Fightography. Let us know what you think.
Yes, I'll put up another poll Monday with our top 4.
Or you could email us at jazzlasagna@gmail.com.
Have you had any emails yet, Max?
I haven't checked.
Last time I checked, it was just Linktree.
But I will check after this recording. Nice. Thank you for watching. I hope you were thoroughly entertained. I enjoyed talking about Mr. Reeves this week.
Indeed, it was a fun episode, I think. A very fun episode. One of our biggest ranges, dare I say, apart. I think it might have been a bigger range than even Mr. Hardy himself. It's quite a range.
Wow. So thank you for listening. And catch us next time on Fightography.
Ta-ra!